Oi, oi, all right, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is the Doodle Review coming through with a new album to give a spin, chat some fraff about, and assign an arbitrary score to. Today, it's the turn of the Hives. The Hives forever, forever the Hives. They are a great band, maybe one of my favorite live bands that I've seen. I've seen them a bunch. I saw them at Glastonbury when they were like a surprise secret set. They came out first on the other stage, and the first scheduled act was BDI, Liam Gallagher's like post Oasis thing, which wasn't really that good. And yeah, night and day between those two was just amazing. Hives came out, and at that point, I'd have been a casual fan of their singles, and they just owned that field for that 40 minutes. They were incredible. They're here with a new album. Let's get into it. So it was a long 10 years between their fifth album, Lex Hives, and their sixth, 2023's The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons. So it feels almost surreal to be reviewing their follow up barely 2 years later. And I had some hesitation going into this one because of that fact as well. Randy Fitzsimmons may have taken a long time to arrive, but it was worth the wait. Stone cold banger of a Hives record. It was fun, fast, unserious, and well, sounded like the Hives. You know, like Motorhead or AC/DC, the Hives exist in rarefied air where they don't have to mix up the formula too much between albums. Their brand of garage rock, their sound just works as is. Not that I'd be like dead against it if they wanted to change direction, but I don't come to a Hives record to be challenged. I come to a Hives record because I want another 30 minutes of blistering rock and roll that can make even the most cynical, unfeeling person want to jump about like an idiot. Anyway, the fact that Randy Fitzsimmons was so good and we had to wait 10 years for it made me a little worried that a fast follow up, which in some cases, though not confirmed for this, but in some cases means a band like salvaging the stuff that they just didn't like for the last album. I worried that based on that, that this might be like a rush throwaway job that wouldn't match up, which is a long way of saying that I was actually doubting Pelle Almqvist and the boys. And that's just something no Hives fan should ever feel, let alone admit to. Almost as a way of proving how ridiculous it was for me to be doubting the band that, in their words, are the reason music was invented. This album fucking rocks. I'd even be so bold as to say it's better than The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons. First and foremost, it's got bangers. And not only is there just not a bad song in the bunch, pretty much all of them are single ready, catchy, adrenaline raising, shout from the rafters hits, all killer, no filler, all bangers, no mash. I love that it starts with Enough is Enough. It's a track that is straight from the AC/DC playbook in how self referential it is. Not only does the progression evoke their previous hits like Hate to Say I Told You So or Tick Tick Boom, the guitar tone is just dialed in to sound exactly the same as those songs. And like I've said before, there's not many bands that can get away with this, but when you have a formula that solid and can deliver it that well, like why the fuck wouldn't you? The thing is, for all my talk about the Hives being a band that don't need to push the boat out, this album actually kind of does a pretty good job of doing that. Forever the Hives swings between a slight new wave influence and some of the grittiest straight up punk they've included on an album in years, all while under the kind of umbrella of their core garage rock sound. This new wave lean is introduced pretty early on, actually in the bridge of the otherwise like self-referential first track, Enough is Enough, with its kind of call and response vocals. Hooray, Hooray, Hooray has a late era Ramones kind of vibe. Like personally, I hear a lot of I Want to Live in the jangly arpeggioed chord progression. Legalize Living introduces some clearly 80s influenced synthesizers, and Roll Out the Red Carpet and Born a Rebel are propelled by these like robotic guitar riffs that tune up and down, the latter also including a bit of special style organ too. As I said, this is balanced by some really raw punk rock that we haven't received this unfiltered from the Hives in a while. Paint a Picture has the high octane tempo that you would be looking for with that kind of reference point, but it's actually the pre chorus where the chords are just allowed to ring out that just gives you that kind of like late 70s feel. OCDOD almost sounds like the demo of an early 80s band bridging from punk into hardcore. And They Can't Hear the Music has an anthemic Ramones quality to it as well. On that, punk note, this record also feels like the angriest we've heard Howlin' Pell in a while. Never one to get political. There's no like specific protest here, just a general rallying against a society slowly leaning further and further towards, authoritarianism. If I had to put any track in last place, it would probably be Path of Most Resistance, which is the only riff here that just feels a bit tired. But that being said, the Hives still wring a decent tune out of it. And as I say, it just ends up being the song that I like the least, not a bad song. The record ends with the title track, and once again tapping the new wave vibes. The band hit a cathartic tone here with a song that kind of looks backwards and celebrates an amazing legacy. This song actually hits me kind of hard when you consider how pure this band are in terms of bringing rock and roll to the world, putting their all into every single show and making people feel good for over 20 years. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, the Hives forever. Fucking right. I would give this an 8.5, 8.5. I'm going to say it's a banger. I love it, and I think I love it more than the death of Randy Fitzsimmons. But what say you? Let me know in the comments. I might have mentioned it earlier, I might not have, but I do a newsletter every week where I talk about some of the smaller releases that come out and releases in other genres. So if you want to hear me chat about bands like Black Country New Road or Boldy James or any other kind of like smaller artists from this year, you can check out newsletter. It's linked somewhere down in the description, so check it out. But yeah, that's it from me. Time to knock it on the head. Cheers, mate. There you go. Bye.